Shields are an area that I personally often overlook when building my characters. However, they are very important for both survivability and damage depending on the shield. But which shields are the best? Hey Vault Hunters, I'm Constant Canadian, and these are the top 10 shields in Borderlands 3. Starting off the list in no particular order, we have the Frozen Heart and the Snowshoe shield. These are technically two different shields, however they both made this list for the same reason. Both of these shields, upon depletion, release a Cryo Nova that heals for 30% of damage dealt and freezes enemies within its radius. This effect is incredibly useful for not only crowd control, but it can also be very powerful offensively when utilizing the Icebreaker artifact. With the Frozen Heart, this Nova can be repeatedly activated with an action skill start anointment and a spammable action skill, and with the Snowshoe, this effect can be repeatedly activated by using that shield's other special effect, which drains your shields when sliding into an enemy. This ultimately makes the Snowshoe a little bit more versatile than the Frozen Heart, as you can use any anointment you want, though they're both amazing shields. These shields are usually my go-to for their mix of survivability plus offensive ability, and if you want them for yourself, the Frozen Heart drops from Aurelia in the Black Barrel Sailor map, and the Snowshoe drops from the Valkyrie squad in the Manawell takedown. Next up we have the Stopgap, a shield all about survivability. This shield has above average shield capacity, at least by base game standards, as well as a unique special effect that makes its wearer 100% immune to any and all damage for 5 seconds upon shield depletion. This effect is just insanely good for survivability, as it gives you a full 5 seconds when you're in danger to run away or hide or finish off the last of the enemies. Where this effect gets even better though is with the action skill start anointments. Using this anointment with a spammable action skill like Rack Attack or Phase Grasp or Mantis Cannon allows your character to be immune practically indefinitely. Now, unfortunately, using this anoint won't refresh the effect if it's already active, but as long as you're using your action skill every 5 seconds, you are completely immune forever. The Stopgap also works really well with the Guardian rank perk Topped Off, which drastically increases your action skill cooldown rate while your shield is full, making action skills far more spammable. This shield doesn't offer anything in terms of offense, but you can simply throw this shield on with the action skill start anoint and then use every other gear slot and skill point for damage. If you want this super defensive shield for yourself, it drops from Eldragon Jr. in the Jacob's Estate map. Next up on the list we have the Old God from the Guns, Love, and Tentacles DLC. This shield will always spawn with a 25% elemental resistance, as well as 20% extra damage of whichever element the shield rolls with. This bonus might seem relatively small in the grand scheme of things, but thanks to the way the Borderlands 3 damage formula works, a 20% elemental damage increase for everybody but Amara is actually a huge increase. The Old God can also roll with 3 other Hyperion shield augments like Absorb, Fleet, or even more elemental resistance. The farm for the shield does kinda suck as it drops from Eleanor and the Heart, the final boss of DLC 2, though it can also world drop anywhere within that DLC. The Old God won't make the crazy difference that some of the other shields later down this list will, but it gives a good amount of both offense and defense. Coming up next we have the Super Soldier. This shield is locked behind the 6th DLC Director's Cut, and when this shield fills, it creates a barrier around the player that makes them immune to all damage for 5 seconds, just like the Stopgap. However, unlike the Stopgap, upon filling, the Super Soldier also grants its wearer plus 50% fire rate, plus 25% movement speed, and plus 5% ammo regeneration for a full 60 seconds. These buffs are generally very helpful for every Vault Hunter, but shine especially well with Zane thanks to the bonus movement speed and fire rate. The Super Soldier also works very well with the action skill start anointment to essentially become a Stopgap, but with offensive bonuses as well. If you want this shield for yourself, it can be bought for 5 keys from the Fallen Heroes Vault card. Moving on now to the Madcap. This shield has the absolute highest base capacity of any other shield in the game, with a base capacity of around 170,000 at level 72, before any bonus capacities taken into account, which makes this shield an incredibly good option for a Bloodletter Moze build that heavily invests into big shields. If this shield spawns with a triple turtle roll, it will end up with a base capacity of around 250,000, which is insane for base capacity. Now, this shield does make your fight for your lifetime 50% shorter, which is pretty unfortunate, but with a shield this big, you won't really have to be worrying about that too much. The Madcap is unfortunately locked behind the Arms Race game mode, being able to drop anywhere in that mode with an increased drop rate from Heavyweight Harker or the Plunder Dome chests. Coming in at number 5, we have the Transformer. This shield was first featured in Borderlands 2, and in Borderlands 3 it's technically a bit worse, but still a super solid base game shield for defense. It won't quite make you 100% immune to all damage like the Super Soldier or the Stopgap, however it is a very set it and forget it shield with zero micromanagement. The Transformer will not only grant you 100% shock immunity and 40% chance to absorb ammo, the highest chance possible, but it will also make any shock damage you take be converted into shields instead of hurting you. This makes this shield incredibly strong for utilizing shock splash weapons in close range, as any shock splash will actually heal you instead of hurting you, provided you don't have any action skill end annoyance anyway. Even completely ignoring the shock immunity though, a 40% absorb chance is pretty strong for late game, and this shield has a pretty decently high capacity as well, making it just a very solid shield. If you want one for yourself, it drops from Queen Ant Wannet in the Splinterlands, who spawns during or after the Just Desserts mission. If you've been watching my videos for a while, then you know just how insanely strong the Fish Slap Grenade can be. Now what if I told you, you could have the power of the Fish Slap Grenade, while also having it being centered around you with a much bigger radius? Enter our number 4 pick, the Stinger. The Stinger is one of, if not the strongest melee shield in the game. While full, this shield will grant its wearer 50% bonus melee damage. The Stinger will also always have a spike part, making any enemies who deal melee damage to you take damage of the shield's element. However, where this shield gets really strong is in its final special effect. The Stinger shield also has a Nova part, but it's a special Nova that deals melee damage, meaning it not only gets scaled with melee damage, but it also activates melee abilities. This Nova is insanely strong on a melee build, and the shield's Nova is more than capable of clearing out every single enemy around. The Stinger Nova is especially useful for true melee builds, as usually when your shield depletes doing true melee, it means you're gonna die soon. However, with the Stinger, when your shield breaks, you'll just kill everything around you instead, saving you from the danger of your shield being gone. The Stinger is a must-have for any melee build, and it is especially fun with the action skill Start Anointment. If you want one for yourself, it can drop from Anathema in the Guardian Takedown. Up next, we have the Manawell. This shield, first added with the Director's Cut DLC, is a fantastic option for Moes, while being kind of mid on everyone else. While wearing the Manawell shield, slamming will activate its special effect. This special effect drains your shield for 9% of your max shield per second, while simultaneously giving you 90% damage reduction and 100% bonus shock damage. The reason this shield works so well for Moes is thanks to her Bloodletter class mod, which allows her to keep constantly regenerating her shield without any form of delay, making it very easy to circumvent the constant 9% shield drain effect of the Manawell. For other characters, the Manawell can work, but you won't get more than a short burst of extra damage from the shield, as none of the other characters can regenerate shields quite as well as Moes can. If you want the Manawell for yourself, it can be picked up for 5 keys from the Bunker Master's Vol card. Coming in at number 2, we have the Revolter. This is quite possibly the most well-known shield in the game, and for a good reason. It is incredibly powerful. This shield, upon depletion, will shock enrage the player, increasing their fire rate by 50% and granting an additional 200% shock damage. These bonuses are insanely strong for any weapon and any character, making this shield a super good option regardless of your character. This shield is super easy to get the most out of as well, as with the action skill Start Anointment, you can utilize a spammable action skill like Phase Grasp, Rack Attack, or Mantis Cannon to constantly be shock enraged. However, if you still want an action skill and anointment on a Revolter, then you can use a weird glitch to get a level 1 Revolter, making your shield break the second you take damage, and as long as you're killing things, the Guardian rank perk Shield Reboot will allow this effect to be triggered over and over again, as the shield does not need to be fully recharged in order to become shock enraged again. Even removing the bonus shock damage from the shield, a 50% fire rate essentially on demand is insanely powerful, and what makes the Revolter even better is that it can roll with any Hyperion shield augment like Fleet, Absorb, or Healthy. If you want one of these awesome shields for yourself, it can drop from Sumo and Eschaton Row from the Director's Cut DLC. And coming in at number 1, we have the Infernal Wish. This is another amazing offensive shield that can be used by any character. While the Infernal Wish is equipped and active, all shots fired will have 1 extra projectile, while also having a chance to light you on fire. The Infernal Wish is great for any character as the fire damage isn't quite as bad for draining your shield as the Manawell, But the main caveat with the Infernal Wish is that it becomes increasingly less effective depending on how many pellets your gun fires. With a single pellet weapon, you'll double your damage. With a 2 pellet weapon, you'll increase your damage by 50%. With a 4 pellet weapon, you'll increase your damage by 33%, and so on and so forth. Which means that for multi-pellet weapons, like shotguns or the like, the Infernal Wish isn't a super great choice. However, for single pellet weapons like snipers or the backburner or plague bearer launcher, the Infernal Wish is completely insane. And it gets even more fun when paired with Flak's Two-Fang or Zane's Playing Dirty to potentially triple the damage of a single pellet weapon, which is super useful for one-shotting various bosses in the game. The Infernal Wish is also really good on Moes for the same reasons as the Manawell, which is negating the shield damage with the Bloodletter. And the Infernal Wish's Fire Dot, while not activating the Elemental Projector artifact, can still proc Mindfulness on Amara, making it an awesome choice for a Spiritual Driver build as well. As for the bad news, the Infernal Wish is a shield that is locked behind Arms Race, which makes it quite a pain in the butt to farm, dropping anywhere in that game mode with increased chances from Heavyweight Harker or the Launch Command chests.